Good afternoon, and welcome to our annual State of the County Trust, this year with extra time built in for networking before the presentation. You're welcome. My name is Matt Large. I'm the president and CEO of Williamson, Inc., the county's Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development organization. At this time, I'd like to introduce my friend Travis Anderson, who'll be giving the invocation for today's event, and then he'll be followed by the mayor's grandchildren, who will be saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise for the pledge, and remain standing for the pledge, and we'll start with Travis with the invocation. Travis?
All right. Please bow with me. Lord, thank you. Thank you for all that you have given us. Thank you for our freedom. Thank you for all that this state and this county have to offer. Lord, we reflect on what Solomon wrote in Proverbs 16:9. In their hearts, humans plan for the course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Please be with our elected officials and our mayor, my father, as they plan our course, but as you establish their steps for the next 1, 5, 10, 20 years. Bless this food that you have given us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Ready? Face the flag, everybody. Oh, this one. Over here. This one. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Ready? All right, ready? Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty.
All right, well done. Well done. That's a good prayer. All right. Thank you so much, Travis, and kids. We always appreciate your participation in this event. So, Travis referenced it in the invocation, but we know how important leadership is to this community. In fact, I firmly believe the reason we're successful today is because of decisions made generations ago. And leadership is really everything in Williamson County. And it's really important for our organization as well. It's at the core of who we are as Williamson Inc. as a leadership organization. And we are thrilled to be the host for Leadership Brentwood, the youth and adult program. So at this time, we'll continue the theme of leadership. And I'd like to invite to stage John Reedy with Youth Leadership Brentwood, and Ashley Roberts with Youth Leadership Franklin for the first time, actually, which I'm thrilled about. And they will be awarding the scholarship recipients for this year's class from both Youth Leadership Brentwood and Youth Leadership Franklin. There you go. Thanks, man. All right.
Each year, the Williamson County Chamber Foundation, the Leadership Brentwood Alumni Association, Youth Leadership Brentwood, and Youth Leadership Franklin present college scholarships to high school seniors who are graduates of the Youth Leadership Brentwood and Youth Leadership Franklin programs.
Applicants represent the best of the county with leadership and their scholarship. At this time, we would like to represent Youth Leadership Franklin Scholarship to Faith Jones. Faith is from Summit High School. Come on up. Faith will be attending Samford University. Her parents, Angie, and her father, Carl, and her brother, Ben, are all here celebrating her tonight.
And we'd like to award the Youth Leadership Brentwood Scholarship and we're going to hand out 6 of them. Please welcome to the stage Namra Ajmal, a Brentwood High School graduate. Namra will be attending Vanderbilt University in the fall. Namra's mother, Sarwat, and her father, Mohammed, are here today as well to celebrate her accomplishments. Congratulations. Our next recipient is Jonah Franks, a Ravenwood High School graduate, who will be attending Boston University. Come on up, Jonah. He is joined today by his parents, Justin and Wiley, who are, I'm sure, proud of his accomplishments. Congratulations. Next is Lauren Shepard. Lauren will be attending Auburn University. Come on up, Lauren. Sounds like there are a few Auburn grads in the crowd. Lauren's mother, Jennifer, and her father, Scott, are here along with her brother, Stephen, to celebrate her accomplishments. There you go. Congratulations. fall off the stage. All right. Our next recipient is Huntak Shin. Huntak, come on up. He's a graduate of Ravenwood High School. He will be attending the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania this fall. His parents, Yoon Na and Jung Yu, are with him to celebrate. Congratulations. Another graduate from Ravenwood High School, Jack Weston. Come on up, Jack. He will be attending Ohio State University in the fall, although they like to say the Ohio State University, to eliminate any confusion. He's joined today by his parents, Jill and Bertil. Congratulations, everybody. And finally, I would like to award, on behalf of my daughter, Sarah Reedy, a Ravenwood High School graduate. She's getting one of these awards today, but she could not attend, unfortunately. Sarah will be enrolling this fall at the University of Notre Dame, where she'll be studying biology and psychology.
At this time, we would like to ask our students what you're planning on studying in college, if you know.
I'll be studying finance at the Fisher School of Business.
I'll be studying finance as well with a double concentration in legal studies and business ethics.
I'll be studying pre-med and Spanish.
I'll be studying biomedical engineering.
I'll be studying history with a view to law school.
I will be studying human development and family education with a focus in child life.
Congratulations, everybody. Best of luck.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you all. Students, we appreciate that, and parents for your support, too. I know they greatly appreciate that. At this time, I want to take just a moment to thank our State of the County presenting sponsor, that's Williamson Medical Center. This meeting wouldn't be possible without their generous support, and at this time, I'm going to welcome Nicole Volk to the stage, and she's going to introduce a brief video for Williamson Medical Center. Nicole?
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. And we're so proud to be part of this great county, and we thank everyone for your continued support. And wanted to share a few words from some of our surgeons. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and play the video. Thank you.
I think the most impressive thing about working at Williamson Medical Center is how happy the patients are. When a patient comes here for their surgical care, they'll be surprised to see how well they're treated.
Patients should consider Williamson Medical Center for their surgery because they are going to get exceptional care.
We are very blessed to have a good team and also, kind of have that persistent small town feel, but yet have the technology and the medical capabilities of the larger centers.
A lot of what we're able to do now is minimally invasive. Through the use of the surgical robot or just regular laparoscopy, we're able to fix some pretty advanced problems with really small incisions.
What impresses me most about Williamson Medical Center is the patients are not treated as a number. Plus, this is the only five-star hospital in the state right now.
I think the most impressive thing is the people who work here, their loyalty to the hospital. You talk to people on the floor, the nurses, the other medical staff, they love working here, and that produces an environment that's so healthy for the patient.
Patients should consider Williamson Medical Center for their surgery just because as soon as they come through the door, they'll be greeted with a smile, they'll be taken care of, and ultimately they're going to feel better.
We have very good cutting-edge technology here at Williamson Medical Center, all the way from advanced diagnostics to advanced surgical procedures. I don't think there's much that you would find elsewhere you won't find here.
It's great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Williamson Medical Center, excuse me, and for all the support you provide throughout Williamson County, really throughout the year. We appreciate that. I also want to take just a moment to thank Cigna for their generous support of today's event. I saw Tim here earlier out in the lobby. Cigna is a global health service company dedicated to improving the health, well-being, and peace of mind for those they serve. They deliver choice, predictability, affordability, and access to quality care to over 950,000 customers in Tennessee. Their team of 1,500 employees here in Williamson County are dedicated to being champions of their customers and communities every day through events like this one and through the Williamson County Fair that I know Rogers will mention here in a few minutes. I also want to thank Full Service Insurance for their support for today's event. We'll be hearing more from Patrick later, so thanks everybody for your sponsors for making this happen. Before we jump into the keynote address from our county mayor today, I just want to spend a few minutes talking about really the last few weeks in Williamson County, especially around the Williamson County economy, and especially one day that speaks to the economic dynamism of Williamson County and also the opportunities that it provided. And that day was June 25th. It was really a watershed day in Williamson County. Just to kind of go through a review in the timeline, at 9 a.m., Mars Pet Care opened their pet-friendly North American headquarters in Williamson County. At 10:30 that morning, the Grilled Cheesery opened in downtown Franklin. And at 11:15, Mitsubishi Motors announced they're relocating from California to Williamson County. There you go, right? Who doesn't love puppies, grilled cheese, and jobs? It's the best way you can sum up this economy, I guess, or that day, right? And I think what's even more important is the way that we decide as a community to welcome those who are new to the area. So, in addition to that great announcement from Mitsubishi, in fact, we're one of only 4 counties in America that have 2 major automotive headquarters. We actually held an open house and career fair for the company last Friday. There's a friend of mine, Brian Moyer, the head of the Nashville Tech Council, talking about ways that they could partner with Mitsubishi Motors to make sure they have the workforce they need. So we had 400 people come through our office last Friday. And again, I think it's a good reminder, one, how we welcome people that come from the outside, but secondly, and go to the next slide, you'll notice this too. This was the box of resumes that they left with. And this was one of the reasons they had this event. And I think it's a reminder that even in an economy that has a low unemployment rate, a high job growth rate, there are still people here that are underemployed or unemployed. And so when we work hard to recruit a company like Mitsubishi to town coming from California, they create not just jobs, but career opportunities for our kids, our grandkids, our friends, our neighbors. So we're thrilled to play the role that we did. I know Rogers is going to talk about it in a little bit, of helping welcome Mitsubishi to our community and know they're going to be a great corporate citizen for years to come. So this is the point where I will introduce the mayor's daughter, Laura Howard, to the stage, who make the formal introduction for the mayor. Laura?
It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. He's on the Board of Trustees at Williamson Medical Center. He's on the Board Emeritus at Williamson County United Way. He is the chairman of the Williamson County Fair, chairman of the Mid-Cumberland HRA, vice chairman of the Transportation Management Authority. He is a member of the Williamson Chamber of Commerce, Franklin Noon Rotary, Workforce Essentials Board, Tennessee Hospital Association Board, Williamson County Economic Development Council, Leadership Franklin Alumni, and the Whitehall Homeowners Association. He is past chairman of the Middle Tennessee Mayor's Caucus, Metropolitan Planning Authority, Regional Transportation Authority, Greater Nashville Regional Council, the Tennessee County Services Association. He's a past board member of the American Hospital Association Committee on Governance. He is a former Grassland Athletic Association basketball, baseball, and softball coach. He was one of the founding members of Grassland Athletic Association and is a current member of Barry's Chapel Church of Christ. He served as county commissioner from 1986 until 2002. He served as chairman of the county commission for 4 of those years, vice chairman for 8 years. 11 years ago today, he married his wife, Anita Anderson. He has 3 children, 2 daughters-in-laws, and 1 son-in-law. He has 9 grandchildren: Olivia, Scott, Iris, Cole, Audrey, Evangeline, Molly, and Olivia are all here today. He is a graduate of the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, where he received a bachelor's in business and education. He is a veteran of the United States Air Force, having served in Africa and Vietnam. After being elected as a county mayor in 2002, he retired after 25 years of the private insurance sector. He is the friend that will meet you faithfully for coffee for nearly 20 years, then just as faithfully meet you daily as your terminal illness changes coffee talks to cancer prognosis and end-of-life care. He is the neighbor that buys dog treats for your dog, then lets your dog inside his house to indulge. He is the neighbor that also has the coveted garden with a plentiful harvest filled with inviting vegetables where he so meticulously cultivated, all with the mindset that it is better to give than to receive from the fruits of his labor. He is the father that his 3 children admire, his 9 grandchildren adore. Chocolate milk and vanilla wafers are always around, and so is a listening ear or a comforting hug. As a child of God and a follower of Christ, we see him as an instrument of grace. He is both humble and zealous. He loves his friends, he loves his neighbors, and he loves his family well. He loves Williamson County. It's my pleasure to introduce my dad, Rogers Anderson.
Okay. Can you hear me in the back? You can have this back. So you know it's a good day when you set a record for the largest single chamber event, Matt tells me, and you have purple mashed potatoes. Who has those? I was scared to death to even try it. I thought they'd gone bad. But to you grandchildren, you always try something. So I did. Welcome. It's glad to be here again this year and share in the annual State of the County Address. I want to first acknowledge and represent my thank you to the many elected officials that are here. I'm not going to try to name them. I know there are city mayors here, there are county commissioners, aldermen, state representative just came back down from Nashville, and you haven't heard, the new Speaker of the House will be Cameron Sexton from Crossville. That was decided about an hour and a half ago. So if you're an elected official, would you please stand so that we can all acknowledge you? And I also want to extend a special welcome to our new Director of Schools, Jason Golan. He's not new to many of us. Jason. If you have trouble finding him, you're over 6'9" or 10. He's a tall glass of water, as they used to say. Special thanks also is extended to the Williamson Medical Center for sponsoring today's event. As you probably know, they recently launched a partnership with the Bone and Joint, now it's called the Bone and Joint Institution of Tennessee, and constructed a new state-of-the-art facility on the hospital campus. As a regional leader in orthopedic surgery, Williamson Medical Center is proud to partner with the most respected, talented, and distinguished groups of orthopedic surgeons around the area. Thank you, Williamson Medical Center. You know, we are fortunate to live in a great county, a county that is well known and recognized for our business community, our services, our values, and many qualities of life that we enjoy and may even take for granted. Just a few numbers that we'll flash up on the screens. I hope you can see them in the back. Last year, out of the 140,000 voters that voted in the different election, we had 8.7 of those vote take time to cast their vote in the local referendum. The local referendum is one that is an elected official, chief elected official of this county, to run a charge that you're going to have to raise sales tax 0.5%. Is not always a daunting task in the year that you've got to run your own election. But you stepped up and 66% of you said, we want our money, we want our sales tax increase to go towards schools, and you voted for that, and you have made a difference each and every day in the lives of our children and our grandchildren. When it comes to national election, our county has consistently had some of the highest turnout on the registered voters scene. Likewise, it is rewarding to know that Williamson County voters are some of the most engaged in the state. However, our participation in municipal elections this past spring in May in Brentwood was kind of low at 12.8%. Of the registered voters. And in the 2017 Franklin election, the vote was 9.2 of the registered voters. There'll be another election coming up in this fall, and I encourage you, if you're a registered voter here in the Franklin geographic area, I know the aldermen and the mayors would appreciate your support. Speaking and being involved, I want to encourage all the Williamson County residents to participate in the upcoming county's comprehensive plan, which will guide the future and the preservation of our unincorporated part of our county. The planning department and a consultant have been gathering information and a great deal of input from citizens on how we want the future of our unincorporated area to look. Now's the time for your voice to be heard. We anticipate this plan will be completed by the end of the year, at which time it will be presented to our planning commission and to our county commissioners. Likewise, I hope that each Williamson County resident here today will participate in the 2020 census. Every 10 years, we're required by law to have a complete and accurate census. This is the only way that Williamson County can receive the rewards from the federal and the state government when they are calculating and distributing the new money based on the population. Getting an accurate head count of our residents also ensures that we have equal representation at the federal, the state, and the local level. Everyone counts, and it's up to you to make sure you're counted in the 2020 census. Since the sales tax increase passed in February 2018, Williamson County schools have opened the following schools: a new Thompson Station Elementary and Middle School, Jordan Elementary School, Creekside Elementary School will open in January this coming year in 2020. The cost of financing the construction of these new schools has been partially offset by the revenue that we were allowed to have on the sales tax increase. Additions and construction projects have been funded for both Page Middle and Page High School, as well as the remodeling of the facilities next to Franklin High School that will now serve as the Entrepreneurial and Innovation Center, which will include vocational technical classrooms that provide skilled workers in addressing the needs that Matt always talks about, workforce. For you that have been around a few years, that's the old Yates Vocational Building. And so we spared that building and we put lipstick on a pig, and surprising what it looks like. Good job, Jason and Kevin. As of June 30th, 2019, new sales collection, I'm going to throw some numbers up for you that like numbers now, brought in almost $24 million. $17 million of this has already been allocated towards schools for the borrowing cost. $7 million is reserved to fill the capacity of the future school construction. The operating costs, once the schools are built, the doors are open. So the money that is going into the sales tax is for the construction, the bricks and mortar. I'm asked this all the time. The operating costs, when you put the key in the door and you turn it, you got to pay the teachers. You got to pay the heat bills and all of that. That's a different side of the ledger to draw the money from, just like in your business. A number of people have asked, why don't we in the county just charge the people who are moving here to pay for the growth? Many of you recall we did that. So I'm going to take you on a little journey of history. 1988, we put in 3 things under Bob Ring, who was the county executive at that time, which is my role now as county mayor. We put in 3 things. We put in a privilege tax. If you want to move to this county, you're going to have to pay. And we put in adequate facilities. So when you move here, you're going to help pay for those things. And you're going to have adequate school facility tax. All 3 of those were implemented. And we charged that on heating and cooling space, the heating and the cooling of your house. Whether you're Jason Golden or David Snowden, I'm not sure where he's sitting, but David is here. Schools cost money, and they cost a lot of money. Education impact fee was implemented on new construction in 2017. Here's some numbers. Due to the people moving into the county, a fee on all new homes was tacked on for those residents coming into the county and not the existing residents. So if you moved here from Davidson County, we love you. Ralph Schultz, send all the people you want, but you're going to pay more. And we didn't back down from that. We said our schools are important. Whether it's Mitsubishi or any corporation, that's our golden goose, and we've protected it. And thank goodness our cities buy into that also. So, what has happened? To offset the cost of those services, you may recall the educational impact was assessed at 50%. I wasn't the favorite child of home builders that day. I understand that, but we had 2 choices: spread the cost out all over property tax or go for the new business that are moving to town. Matt and many others and I walked around this town convincing people that we should charge it on new construction. So here are the numbers. After we did that, the home builders who paid the fee under protest, they levied a lawsuit against the county for implementing the new fee. I have a lot of home builder friends, but they brought on a lawsuit to us. And so the amount of fees paid under protest, not everybody's buying into this theory, but $11 million was generated from the people that did not sign into the protest. We had the lawsuit. Our law firm, Berger and Mosley, defended the actions at the circuit court level. They've appealed it to take it up to the next level. But here's the numbers. Since the implementation of this in March through June of this year, just a couple of months ago, we've collected $38 million in educational impact fees. It didn't slow people down from moving into our county. Same thing happened in 88. Same thing happened in 92 and 96. It doesn't slow people down. When you develop the best public schools that you can possibly have, people want to live in your community. We watched all these leadership young men and women to come across here. There's no way I could have qualified to get in half of those schools they're going from. I struggled to get into UT. If I'd have played sports, I could have got a scholarship. We have collected a total of $38 million in educational impact fees. In October 2018, a total of $6,600,000 of the non-protested fees collected were used to offset capital costs as following. The county commission spent the money or sent the money to the schools, and the schools spent it followingly. Put an auditorium on at Grassland Middle School, $1,700,000. Sunset Auditorium, $1,700,000. Creekside Elementary, $3,100,000. Creekside Elementary is on, anybody know where Creekside's at besides school personnel? Gosa Hills. Anybody know where Gosa Hill is? It's off of Marno Road. Metropolis. $20 million, current balance of $20 million was available to offset capital costs for future Williamson County schools. The school board approved and requested a budget this year. of $386 million. Based on available revenue sources, their recommended budget request required an 11-cent property tax increase for the general purpose school fund. But in the last few hours, few days, we found out we got some more money from the state of Tennessee, and we were able to reduce that from 11 cents to 7 cents. So you do have a 7 penny increase on your property tax for this year. First one we've had in several years. You know, Charles Sargent, who, excuse me, Charles Sargent for many years was very instrumental in the things that occurred up in Nashville, and through his efforts before he passed away, he was able to take care of our school system. So the approved school budget for the new fiscal year reflects an increase of almost $35 million over the prior year budget that was approved. There are improvements throughout the year, but in one given year, it goes up $35 million. I don't blame Jason and the school board. It's just the way it is in our county. Many of you have been in attendance at the chain meeting last year when the superintendent, Mike Looney, discussed the need to increase the starting pay for the teachers. Remember that? Mike stood up and caught us kind of all off guard and said, we got to pay our teachers more. Guess what? In this year's budget, $6 million above the 3% salary increase is to help to offset some of the school board's requests, and part of that is new teacher pay. So, the projected increase of the student population, ready for this coming year? According to Jason and all the people in the school, 1,048 new students will be rolling into our county that are beyond the graduation that just occurred 60 days ago. 1,000 new students are coming to our county just in a couple of weeks. We hired or they're in the process of hiring 152 new teaching positions. It's important for Williamson County residents to know that when state revenues are appropriated, and Brandon sitting in front of me didn't know I was going to say this. I don't blame him, but the state BEP program, the Basic Education Program, it's broke. We've told everybody in Nashville it's just broke. They're funding it. They're proud of funding it at 100%, but it's not enough money, and I'm going to show you why. This year in our school system, the Williamson County Public School System, there's 587 positions that are 100% funded by you as a taxpayer. No reimbursement for that is coming down the pike from the state of Tennessee. We want smaller classrooms. We want broadened programs for our children and grandchildren. And that's not necessarily the way the funding model is set up. We're trying to fix that in Nashville, but currently it's not. What does that represent? $40 million to you is what it cost when Steve Smith, the budget chairman, started the budget this year. He had $40 million in the hole he had to fill. So Nina Graham, our budget director, who does a great job, a penny represents just about $1 million. Put the math to it. If I could get the state funding, who's really responsible for education, we could reduce taxes 40 cents. That is never going to happen. But it's a great political statement for me to stand up here and say, go to it, Brandon. In 2019 and 20, the budget for all of Williamson County totaled $626 million, with funding for school operations continuing to represent 65%, and all other government operations represents 35%. Adding the debt service, the county commission has to pay the debt. The school doesn't. A little different than when you buy a house. You buy a house and, you and your significant other have to pay for that house. Well, in the government, we set it up something different. We let the school board ask, the county commission approves, and then, oh, by the way, the county commission got to pay for the school building program. It's the way it's set up. Now, if you've had children, you've all been experienced to that. All three of mine, they needed money. But boy, when I cut that money off, they started living within their own budget. when they graduated. And that's kind of, you're never going to cut the schools off, but that's the way the funding model works. The operation of the county's court system, the clerk's office, law enforcement, elected officials, public safety, landfill, library, parks and recreation, highway department, animal sheriff's department, and all other general operations fall under that 27%. Everything else. So, I want to say thanks to Steve Smith and the following people who served on his budget committee, Beth Lathers, Jennifer Mason, and Matt Williams. They were presented with a very difficult task of taking the recommended budget down. And then it was going to require a property tax. They didn't back down from it. It went to schools. When you look at that last graph and you think that 73% of all your tax dollars goes towards public schools, 27 operates everything else, it's a good model. And it's been a good model. And I also want to thank all of the other elected officials and the department heads that lived within the guidelines that came out. Show you a couple of slides that I think you'll enjoy. Brad Coleman, our property assessor, went through the budget process and he said we have 92,387 real property parcels, and 4,362 of these still show up in the map as beautiful, lush countryside and green spaces. Look at that chart. Look at that map. Only 5% of the total parcels, but 60% of our county is still not developed. That's why it's important you need to tell the Planning Commission how you want it to look for the next 10 and 15 years. That's an amazing number, slide that shows the green of still open spaces. Our county emergency communication department has most recently been partnering with the city of Spring Hill, thanks Mayor, to provide emergency dispatch operation for their residents. The partnership is in conjunction. Last year we did it with Franklin, this year is with Spring Hill, to streamline our emergency operation for the cities and the counties and eliminate duplication and cut out on drop calls for emergency service. Steve Martini tells me that in a few years, this is interesting to me. The Emergency Communication Department recently implemented a new ASAP to PSAP. They live in the world on acronyms, which means that all the dispatch calls to a home or business with an installed alarm service will now have that emergency call routed through technology, through our 911 center. By not sending it over to the company and the company sending back to us for somebody to go out, we pick up 4 minutes. That means a lot to an old man like me with a heart attack. That means a lot to you when you got small children that get choked on something, for that ambulance to come out. We've got that kind of technology. You can pick up 3.85 to 4 minutes on a particular call. There'll be a time, and private business probably won't like it, you know, the commercial where the lady's wearing the button, she says, help, I've fallen, I can't get up. It'll be just a matter of time till that'll be able to be routed to 911 and we can get there faster. You got about 7 minutes, the medical people tell me, when you have a stroke to get something in your system, bust that clot loose. All of these improvements are part of the streamline and they do cost money. Williamson County does not provide a fire department service. In the county, we provide funding for training and resources for our volunteer response personnel. During the past year, volunteer firefighters recruitment has increased 17%. 3 years ago, we had a problem. We addressed it. We didn't have enough volunteers in the unincorporated area for people to respond to fires. If you live in the city, that doesn't bother you, thanks to Eric and Kurt and the aldermen and the commissioners. But if you live in the unincorporated part of our county, it's a problem. So we took that on, and we've got some people here I'll introduce in a few moments, but look at these numbers. We started a volunteer firefighter recruitment class. We increased 17% in June of 2018, and we're proud to have 271 volunteer firefighters serving their neighbors now. Due to the recruitment practice and commitment concentrated on, and the volunteer spirit, firefighting now numbers up to 318. We have 318 men and women serving in the unincorporated area, college and a little bit older, that can being certified to go in and put out fires. That's important. You bet. Today, we've got a few of those men. Todd Bowman, when I call your name, stand up. These are chiefs. Williamson County Rescue Squad. Terry Burgess, Fire Rescue. Amber Fox, Nolansville. Richard Mahan, Fire. Where you at, Richard? There you. Steve Waterman, EMA Reserve. Brandon Hertz, EMA Reserve, and Gene Kraft, Arrington Volunteers. This is just a sample, but these are the chiefs that get this done. Thank you. So by looking at the map, you can see our volunteer firefighters have a lot of ground to cover. That's map is pretty, but it's kind of hard to see from the back. But you can see the different stations. And I do want to explain something here that's off the chart, off the writings that I have here. We try to keep our fire service within 5-mile windows. ISO, Insurance Services Office, rates how you pay for your homeowner's insurance in the unincorporated area based on the fire response, and if there's a fire hydrant within your front door or within 1,000 feet. Is that right? 1,000 feet. You go beyond that, you can get into unprotected area. We have had places in counties in the unincorporated area, their fire insurance rates have doubled, had tripled, and been canceled because of services. We had to fix it. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Todd, and all of you fire folks. That's made a difference in our community, each one of you. Public safety is a priority in our county, both city and county. Emergency service facilities improvements are on the horizon for the following. If you know where these roads are, you've been out on Bending Chestnut Road, Arrington. We've purchased land in the Burwood community. And we're exploring land in the Triune area west of Franklin. Another big change coming about the first part of the year. I think Franklin City's doing this too. Is that right, Nancy, on the recycling side? I see some heads nodding. Effective January the 1st, Williamson County will be going back to the basics in the recycling. And we'll be accepting plastics 1 and 2 only at the mixed plastic recycling bins at all of our county convenience centers for recycling drop-offs. Plastics number 1 and number 2 mostly include bottles and jugs. With the new initiative, the county will have a cleaner plastic recycling system with less room for contamination. What can each of you do to help? Look for the symbol on the bottom of the item. Should be a symbol number 1 or a symbol number 2. When you're finished with the product, rinse it and recycle it. Worst thing you can do is take that plastic peanut butter jar. Nobody wants to clean that thing out. It sticks in there. If you don't rinse it out, you throw it in recycling, we contaminate the entire load. So if you're not going to rinse it, just throw it in your regular trash. It's pretty simple. 3 through 7, these are the filing items on 3 through 7 that are no longer allowed. Plastic bags, foam, yogurt tubs. I don't know why anybody want to eat yogurt anyway. And flower pots. So you got about 5 months to get conditioned. Number 1, number 2, they go in recycling. Everything else, we're going to throw it in. We're just going to get rid of it in a different way. Use reusable totes when you can. Stop by the solid waste department. They're here today. They've got some totes. They're free for you. We want you to use them. Remember the phrase, less is more, and then when in doubt, just throw it out. We should take all of my grandchildren and all of your children and grandchildren. That's how we'll reprogram us. Judy Hayes is not here today, but back in the late 80s and the early 90s, Tom remembers it well. We were trying to get into the recycling business. Us old folks just didn't quite conform to that, so we started teaching it in our schools. Our kids embarrassed us, so we started doing it. For you that don't know what this is, kids, we used to have phone books, and we've turned those in and got money. Remember those days? We're going back to some of those days. Just help us on your individual part to keep Williamson beautiful. That is so important. Our country, our county and our countryside is just gorgeous. In 2018, Williamson County Animal Care Center, this is one of my favorites. In intake, we took in 4,367 animals. We saved 95%. Now, there's a lot of people that are responsible for that, but Andrea, stand up. "95% of them found loving homes." And do you see who Mr. Rogers is? Are you old enough to know Mr. Rogers? So we've got we purchased land for a new facility. It's out off from Highway 96 West. We're building a new facility. A steering committee's been put together, local individuals that have a passion for animals. We've hired a consultant. We have some of the best developing this new center. Simultaneously, members of the Public Building Authority have been meeting with the various county departments who work in the jail, the juvenile, and the justice center. This is one I'm not proud of, and we need to fix it. Our juvenile and justice system, the information reviewed, we led members to the Public Building Authority to make the juvenile detention center and related operations a priority. It has to be a priority. Williamson County has always valued the importance of educating our children. We have to be a leader in protecting them now. There's just too much going on with our kids and grandkids. We've got to focus on it, and that's what we're going to do. The juvenile detention facility does not meet current best practices for safe and secure environments. So we're going to have a securely detained in an effort to provide public safety. You can see some of the crowded conditions that we've got. That should not happen in Williamson County. According to Gresham and Smith, Williamson County is expected to have more than 382. I think there's more residents coming by the year 2048. That's a 66% increase from 2018. Our schools are growing, and so is our youth population in our juvenile area. Those are some staggering numbers that we've got to figure out how to deal with our children to make it into our juvenile system. As our population grows, the demand for our juvenile service and the family court caseload, Sharon, all of you, Brenda, that work in that area, it's a heavy load that you have to lift. Give us a couple of years, we'll get there. New facility will be designed to allow for improved privacy and safety. Improved education allows for an increased support space for the staff. The commitment and the leadership exhibited by the juvenile service and juvenile court is to be commended. They do a wonderful job of what they have and how they have to work it. Let's talk about tourism. It's on the rise. In recent weeks, Ellie Westman Chin proudly announced that Williamson County broke another record of 1.72 million visitors in 2018. Congratulations, Ellie, and all that work in that. That's a 13.6% increase. The national average increase was 1.9. Tourism counts to you. The money spent by the tourism folks coming into our area represents over $500 in reduced taxes for you. Good job. Based on a recent report from Mike.com, never heard of it, but they put it in here. The future of tourism in Williamson County is encouraged, and they've named Franklin as the best place to travel in 2019. So they're going to come again. Speaking of visitors, Williamson County Archives welcomed 10,500 visitors and researchers in 2018. If you've not taken the opportunity to visit our county archives and the museum, you're missing out on a remarkable collection of Williamson County's history. A couple of years ago, the archives band participated in the monthly art crawl. Because of that, their involvement in it, the numbers has just been increasing. It is not unusual for each of us who may have lived here a long time or have been here as recent residents to forget to explore our own backyards. By not doing so, you're missing out on a number of exciting things on those unincorporated areas. I encourage each of you to visit our archives. Go downtown Franklin, go to Brentwood, go to our cities, visit the tourism, visit the remote communities, the country stores that are all throughout Williamson County. You'll experience firsthand all that Williamson County has to offer. We're family-friendly places and events, to scenic roadways, community shopping. You'll really fall in love with Williamson County again when you go out into those county areas. As you explore those areas, you're going to see a lot of changes in the park and recreation. Here's what's getting ready to happen in Parks and Rec over the next few months. 14,000 square feet of additional indoor sports complex in Brentwood, which includes a new group fitness studio, a gymnasium, and more pickleball courts. We can't get them built fast enough. $1.5 million partnership with the city of Brentwood for a new splash park. Kurt's saying it should be open now, hot weather. Completion of Phase 1 improvement at the Fairview Recreation Complex, including a wellness center, group fitness, indoor cycling, and new locker rooms and shower facilities, including also new senior lounges and the lobby area. Government does those too. Initial stages of the new recreation complex are underway in Bethesda, one of our unincorporated rural parts of our county. It is gorgeous out there. We bought 43 acres, and we're going to build a facility that has a new rec center, gymnasium, branch library, and a multi-purpose outdoor sports field, all off from Lewisburg Pike. The development of the recently donated Peacock Hill Nature Park. How many acres do we get? Somebody help me out. Yeah, 250 acres given to us. We're going to develop this park down off from Giles Hill Road, which is in the College Grove area. And we're finishing up on Phase 1 of the Wilkins Branch mountain bike. If you're into mountain bike, this is coming about. It's a collaboration between Outdoor Encounters. They'll have trails from beginners to advanced trails nationwide, all kinds of severe, from beginning to advanced trails, endurance trails, a pump park, I'm not sure what that is, and a skills course. What is that, Dusty? You what? Well, why would you do that? They make motors for that, Dusty. As we continue talking about sports, you may remember the County Commission authorized the initial formation of a Williamson County Sports Authority. In the past 18 months, Richard Harrington chairing it, and the group has been meeting with numerous sports entities, reviewing the thoughts and ideas regarding an amateur sports facility for Williamson County. The feasibility study conducted has laid the foundation for some serious conversation. There'll be more on this to come in the weeks and months ahead. Excuse me. At the end of last month, Mitsubishi announced their decision to relocate their corporate headquarters to Franklin. It's an investment of $18 million, brings 200 new jobs, as Matt said. We love our corporate relocations, and we've got them, but we don't love them any more than our local businesses, small business that are growing. A couple of weeks ago, in Exor, Bioenergy, a renewable energy company located in Franklin, announced they will expand their operations and move into a new 40,000 square foot manufacturing facility. They're investing $5 million in 50 new jobs. As our population grows, studies have demonstrated the second fastest growing population in Williamson County is the 65 and older. They're choosing to retire and move here to be closer to their children and grandchildren. Now, on the flip side, oh, thank you, Brandy. Takes a city alderman to take care of me. On the flip side of that, we've got children moving here to be closer to their families. Look at this slide. I'm taking a moment to welcome my oldest son, Ryan, his wife, Laura, and his 3 kids. I don't know who's going to lead the prayer next year. Ryan's the ministry, going to work at Covenant up in Burton Hills and Green Hills. So until he earns his way back into the family, I guess Travis, the business side, will have to do it. I got tickled. Somebody asked me, what do they all do? Well, Laura's a nurse practitioner, does a great job of introducing me every year. And, you know, every daddy loves his daughter so much. They got 2 sons. I got one's a business and one's a minister, so I got them watching my soul, my health, and my money. How can you... Now they just need to sell their home in Fort Worth. They're living with me, and I told Ryan and Laura they could stay there as long as they wanted to. I just didn't want to see the kids graduating. Recently, we had the extension of McHatcher Parkway that's under construction. The road consists of 3.2 miles and provides continuity between Hillsborough Road and Highway 96. It's been highly anticipated. Thank you, Franklin, for putting the millions of dollars into that road project, hooking up with TDOT so we can get that road going. You see some of the slides up there. The bridge spans, I forgot how many feet, 100, huh? Thank you, Eric. Half a mile. It's going over the Harpeth 2 times, one of the longest bridges we'll have. And it's going to be great to tie in this community. I was able to take Creed Henderson, our Williamson County television director, along with a ride. He'll be placing some of those shots that he took on our WCTV government television channel. Last year, the federal built grant was awarded to the city of Spring Hill for the new Buckner Road interchange. This is not new, but this picture may be new to you. When completed, the road will connect Lewisburg Pike south of Benz Valley subdivision, if I'm pronouncing that right, and will include 2 turning lanes and an intersection light. That's going all the way over from Lewisburg, I'll say it again, to I-65. I know Rick and the folks down there are tickled to death to have that. Where you at, Rick? You're proud to get that one in, aren't you? And thanks to the help of some people in Washington, our own constituent group was able to get that. They got to get it open by when, Rick? 2025. So there's relief coming for that area down there. Environmental work for the interchange and it's already begun, expect to be completed in the very near future. The Williamson County Highway Department recently submitted an application to the federal government for a grant to assist with the cost of replacing the bridge on SNEED Road. The grant would cover 80% of the projected cost through federal funds, and we want to thank the following people: Lamar Alexander, Marsha Blackburn, Senator Mark Green, Sam Whitson, and Brandon Ogles, and our own Senator Jack Johnson for letters of support. I feel good about this. This is an old bridge. It's time for it to be replaced. The Highway Department is also working on improvements on Arno Road, if you live out in that area, including traffic turning lanes at Page Middle and Page High School, as well as improvements to the intersection of Paytonsville, Trinity Road, and Arno Road. They're also working to make improvements at the intersection of Barry's Chapel Road and Farming to install a roundabout for better traffic flow. Thanks to the Superintendent Eddie Hood, the Board of Directors for their hard work in getting these projects done. Wrapping up today, I want to encourage you to speak out in the areas of your community that are seek out those areas that are important in you and get involved. Williamson County is a great place to live, to work, to worship, and raise a family, and get involved and ensure that those behind the scene details are always met. And by the way, if you didn't know it, Buttercup has been with us for 15 years. I've been doing this for 17. Buttercup has been here. The Williamson County Fair starts on August the 7th. Go to the Williamson County Fair website, get involved. There's a lot of new activities going on. Finally, I want to say thank you. It's always a pleasure to get up before you. God bless this county.
This is not, oh, here we go. I don't really know how to follow that, Rogers. That was great. And I noticed people taking photos throughout the presentation. We're going to actually email this out to you if you registered for today's event. I also think maybe, and you won't get the same thing if you weren't in this room, I think maybe, Elizabeth, our next target should be comedy clubs to get Rogers on a Friday and Saturdays, and that's adorable. So anyway, great job, Rogers. We're all so fortunate to live in this county, and we appreciate the reminders why. So thank you again for your leadership, all the leadership of the elected officials in this room. Like I said earlier, leadership matters, and I think what makes this place so special is we build on generation after generation after generation of great leaders who have the best interests of our cities and counties in mind. At this time, I'm going to invite Patrick Baggett of Full Service Insurance to the stage to talk briefly about a new program in partnership with Williamson, Inc. that's going to benefit your company. Patrick?
Thank you. As Matt said, we are rolling out a new program today. You found the information in your seat about a workers' compensation affinity program. Williamson, Inc. clearly has created, along with the leadership of our elected officials, an incredible business environment for all of us to do business and live and work. And this is the newest one of them. If you work for someone with 5 or more employees, you have to have workers' compensation in Tennessee. Accident Fund Insurance Company, Ron Spiker, drove down with us, and they have a program that since 1995, chambers across the country have paid out over $61 million back to policyholders. So if you're a member of the chamber and you have workers' compensation, you can join this program. It helps the chamber, so the chamber gets a benefit because you're a member of the chamber, and the Accident Fund supports, as well as Full Service supports the chamber. 2, you get to support the chamber that is through this program by being a part of a program that is going to continue to grow and has grown all over the country. And 3, Accident Fund is the top carrier in this state, and they take care of your employees. And that, at the end of the day, is what's most important. We're really excited about it. If you have any questions, come see us over there. You'll be seeing more of this come out and roll out over the next year. Thank you for your time, and thank you, Williamson, Inc.
All right. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate that. You'll be hearing more about this partnership soon, but I think it was important to unveil this here at the State of the County address. Our Women in Business Summit is coming up August 28th, so be sure to reserve your spot by registering. As you can see by today's event, you want to register early for the things that we do. Also, thanks to the different groups that have decided and made a point to put display tables up. We greatly appreciate you, and make sure as you leave that you stop by those tables. Finally, if you like what you heard today, how could you not, right? You began or strengthened a business relationship. You're exactly the kind of person we want part of Williamson, Inc. So see any member of our team to sign you up today to be a part of Williamson, Inc. Again, thank you for coming today. Thank you for your support of Williamson County, through your support of Williamson, Inc., and have a great day.